There is an incredible power that is unleashed when you don't quite get what you want, yet find a way to remain happy. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is the power of non-attainment. And there's a grand irony in this, because if we fail happily and we fail effectively, in fact, we gain more self-confidence, we have greater self-esteem, we have more connection to each other, to the universe. In fact, we become more successful. Earlier this year, myself and 3 other individuals decided that we were going to row from Dakar, Senegal to Miami, Florida. Yeah. We called this the CWF, Africa to the Americas Expedition. And we did it in a boat that looked like this. Your sleeping quarters are pretty small. It's about the size of a sheet of plywood. And you share it with one other person. Right? A 6'6", 220-pound, bearded snuggle bear. Right? You should see his jammies. And on this boat, you're responsible for rowing 12 hours a day. On top of rowing 12 hours a day, you're also responsible for conducting scientific experiments on human psychology, on the human physiology, on human circadian rhythms, as well as the state of our planet's oceans. On top of this, you are also maintaining a blog. You have educational curriculum that you're delivering to kiddies in America and Canada. And you also phone up and talk to the media every once in a while. And it was a lot of work, right? And I do realize that you can fly over the ocean, yes. But we deliberately took the slow route across the ocean because we knew that we would learn more by taking the slow route. And I would like to encourage each and every one of you here today and watching on the internet, take the slow route across. And the slow route changed drastically for us on the morning of day 73 of our ocean row. I had laid down in the cabin for a nap. My partner, Pat, who is going to be my sleeping buddy, he came into the cabin. He's an avalanche control guy, grew up in Connecticut. He's crawling in when a couple of funky waves come and they start flooding our cabin. Before I could say anything, the boat had flipped upside down and Pat was in the cabin with me. I push him out, I say, "Go, Pat, go, go, Pat, go." And all of a sudden, I was in this 4 foot by 4 foot by 8 foot cabin, rapidly filling with water, upside down, and I had no air. I was looking around and I see the floor, which is now the ceiling, and there's an air pocket there. So I pop up, I grab a breath of water, and I see a blue light below me, the hatch. I think, do this properly, right? Take another breath, and I dive under, swim through, and there's all these cables hanging. I come out, I pop up out of the water, and I look around, and I see Pat, I see Jordan, I see Marcus, my other crewmates. We say, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" We go, we deploy our emergency life raft. We tie it to the boat. We put on our emergency beacons, and we look at one another. We failed, right? And this drastically contrasts an experience I personally had 4 years ago. I won the Olympics. Right. Yeah. And now let me tell you, there is no feeling of success like it. You cross the finish line after 5.5 minutes of grueling pain, and the first thing that goes through your mind is, "I just won the Olympics," right? The next thing that goes through your mind is that I just won the Olympics with my 8 closest friends in the world, right? And I did it in spandex, right? And we learned a lot. We learned a lot on this Olympic journey. And one of the things I learned the most on going to the Olympics and being successful at the Olympics was a lesson on failure. And if you turn your eyes to that middle guy, that big, bald Viking with the sunglasses, arms up in the air, that guy's name is Jake Wetzel. And before Jake Wetzel showed up at the training center, Before Jake Wetzel showed up at the training center, I was the fastest starbird in Canada. Then Jake started to beat me. Jerk. Right? And the first thing that happened when Jake started to beat me, he was faster, this egoic shield went up around me. I didn't want anything to do with Jake. You know, Jake was an idiot. I wanted to beat him. I wanted to confront him. I wanted to beat him on every curve. And then eventually, I had this chance where I was able to step back and say, wait a second. Even though we're competing against one another, we're on the same team. Right? I can learn something from him. So I invite Jake out for lunch. And we're sitting over this pile of bagels and a dozen eggs, right? We eat as much as a 5-person family does every day. And I ask him, Jake, what's your secret to success? You know, how are you so successful? And Jake looks at me. He's this, like I said, a big, bald Viking, and he speaks with a bit of a stutter, and he's a close talker. And he's like, I seek failure. What? Come on, are you serving me a cone for lunch too, right? What are you trying to say, Jake? And Jake said, I seek failure. And he went to explain it to me. He said, every week we train from Monday through Saturday, and I pick one workout every week where I will willingly push myself through my known limit, and I will embrace failure. And in fact, my body will fail on me. And for the rest of the week, I will know what this limit is. I will know what my limit is, and I will hover below it. And in fact, the greatest point of growth occurs right below your limit. And I looked at him and I said, genius, right? And I believe that, each and every single one of us has a capacity bubble. A capacity to achieve, to find success, to find fulfillment, to find happiness in life. And we can choose to stay in the center of our capacity bubble and slowly let that bubble shrink. Or we can hover around the edges of our capacity bubble and let that bubble grow. And if you are impatient and you want that bubble to grow as fast as possible, what should you do? You should be right at the edge of your capacity bubble. And how do you know where your edge is? You fail. But you don't just fail, you're happy about it. We'll get to that in a bit. I've had my share of success and failures in life, and I've realized that you can fail and be happy or fail and be sad. You can succeed and be happy, or you can succeed and be sad. And I went to the Olympics in 2004, and we didn't win the Olympics. We finished 5th. We were expected to win. I remember crossing the finish line with my teammates and sobbing, right? 8 big guys all crying in spandex, right? I remember winning the world championships for the first time and having the surprising realization that I was depressed after being heavyweight champion of the world. What is that, right? I went to the Olympics and I won, and that was just pure awesome. And obviously I went to the Atlantic Ocean, and we didn't succeed, yet we were happy. And as I've traveled around and as I've learned more about life, I've actually come to believe that most of life actually occurs in this bottom corner of the graph, right? And seeing as today we're here talking about emergence, let me present to you the theory that most emergence occurs in the bottom left-hand corner of this box.